Leave no tossed dwarf behind.
This is the person who makes playoffs every year.
It's over there with McFadden's hands on Hillers.
Are you making fun of me?
I think it was one of those things where, hey, let me ride this while it's going here. That's what she said.
You're the only one I know that does that to themselves, Merrill.
That's what she said?
Oh, see, now that was appropriate. Somebody else says something and you can do it.
Here we go.
This is going to be some good podcast. Oh, sorry.
Happy Touch Tag Day, everybody. Little preview from our man there. Welcome back to the Sandlot Cast, the podcast about our uber competitive fantasy football league where one shall stand and one shall fall. Sorry, I was just watching Transformers. Love that movie. Anyway.
I was going to say, that's not how that works at all.
With me this week, I've got Ivan Gortat, and I am Goran Ivanisevic, and we will be your hosts this week. How's it going there, Ivan?
I don't understand that reference. Who are those people?
Basketball. He's a basketball player. And you're a basketball player. You don't know that?
A 5'9" basketball player
Okay.
with depth perception problems?
Yeah, well. So, yeah, I was watching Transformers, man. It just doesn't...
What do I play for the Wizards?
So let me ask you this. You've seen Transformers 1, you know, with the Shia LaBeouf and all that, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Megan
He's
Fox.
loathsome.
Yeah, so I don't get it. So at the end, they've got this cube, and they've got to get it into the military's hands so they can keep it safe from the Decepticons, right? And so what do? They've got these giant robots armed to the gills with all kinds of weaponry, and they say, "Hey, Shia
Robots
LaBeouf,
don't have any gills.
whatever. Hey, Shia LaBeouf, we need you to carry this cube from the ground level here to the top of that building while we cover you." It's like,
Didn't some of them fly?
Why don't you just fly it up there, robot?
Lazy ass robots.
I don't get it. I mean, you got Megan Fox driving a tow truck around, you know, like towing a Transformer who's shooting.
Yeah. Screw you, military. This tow truck will save us.
The first time I saw it, it had that nostalgic value, but this time, you know, the more I watched it, I'm like, really? This just doesn't hold up.
You know, I should have just not watched those because the only one I haven't seen is the one that I think might be the best, which is the most recent one because it's got like robot dinosaurs and dragons like eating things. It's like so totally over the top. I feel like maybe they finally they've just abandoned plot altogether and just be like robot dinos. You know,
Mark Wahlberg also is a winner over Shia LaBeouf. That's for sure.
Well, he can't do any worse than that. That's pretty much the bottom of the heap.
That's right. So, but anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest. You know, I had a little bone to pick about that.
It's been bugging you all week, huh?
Well, it's been bugging me for about 15 minutes, which is when I was watching it, you know. So.
Oh, that's about your attention span.
So yeah, Hillers, here we are, week 6, man. After this week, our fantasy regular season will be half over. And you were making a comment to me about the standings.
Yeah, I was noting that 8 of our 12 teams are either 4-3 or 3-4. So it's not exactly decided yet.
That's totally our league, by the way.
It's only decided for a few people.
Yeah.
Sorry, Andy.
Yeah, and maybe Watson too.
Probably Watson also, yes.
But yeah, it's definitely a weird one. My mouse is totally broken. I need to call our IT staff. Do we have an IT staff here at the Sandlot Cast?
You are our IT staff.
Ah, crap. That's what I was afraid of.
I am the Brute Squad.
You are the Brute Squad. All right. Well, yeah. So pretty crazy. Yeah, it was kind of a week where nothing. You know, some teams fell back. I think the pack is getting even tighter. Honestly, like it seemed like there was separation at first, and now things are just kind of bunching up a little more. Yeah,
I feel like nothing materially changed all that much. You know, I think this upcoming week, it's week 7, right?
Yeah.
Not this upcoming week, but the following week, maybe we start to see the true outlines of this season. You know, a little bit more.
Week
I have no
7
idea right now.
Week 7 is always like the make or break. It's like, you know, that doubleheader right before. It's kind of like right before the trade deadline. Everybody kind of says, well, depending on how this week goes, we're going to see where I end up. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and after that week, I think weak teams will trade anything worth having to teams that think they're still in contention, and then we'll know.
Yeah, that's usually when Adrian Peterson gets traded. That's like the annual Adrian Peterson trade. Not this year, he won't. Probably not going to happen this year. But I'm not sure who else it would be this year. But Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe Arian Foster gets traded. You know,
Maybe. Yeah, that'd be a good one. Definitely.
Assassins are out of it, but yeah, there's could be some big ones, but pretty crazy. So a little different this week. We're gonna try to run through quick. We're not gonna do team overview. It's me and Hillers. We're just gonna discuss. By the way, just me and you, Hillers, obviously. But this is kind of like the old days, right? When we would would wake up
I'm
all
sure.
hungover on Saturday and do a audio podcast only.
I'm sure everyone's real nostalgic for those times back when everyone used to listen.
Yeah.
They didn't get to see our gorgeous TV-ready faces as we did this. This is a real tragedy.
I don't know if anyone listens, by the way, anymore. Like, no one ever comments. No one says a thing except Evan, who
I don't think
complains
they
every
do.
week
He
about
does.
where we put him in the power rankings.
Well,
He's never high enough.
do better, Evan. Your
Yeah.
team rarely scores over 100 points.
But yeah, there's a comment section like right at the bottom of this thing, like right there. You guys can click comment and just leave a comment. Let us know something that you like, that you don't like,
Some
that we should
feedback.
change.
Yeah, you have to go and ask. You know,
Yeah.
it's so much work dealing with you people. You know,
It is.
you're not
Is
even
anybody
like
actually watching. That's the other thing. Like, are we doing this just for us? Because we could just do a hangout and like. not
we
talk
may well
about
be.
it.
Evan once told me that he just leaves it on in the background and only really pays attention when his subconscious tells him that we've just said something stupid.
Yeah, or when we say sex cannons, probably.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure that means sex cannons aren't the greatest team in the universe. Is
Right.
what he's referring to.
That's right. So,
Yep.
so yeah,
Truth is hard to face.
please give us some feedback. But we're just going to run through some general questions, maybe some mid-season awards. We'll probably do. I guess it's not really mid-season, but we're going to do some awards, and then maybe we'll do the full thing next week. Who knows? But we're kind of winging it. So
Wait for the mid-season review. You know,
yeah,
that
you
big
can-
thesis.
you going to do that this year?
If I can. I'm getting sort of a new job for like 6 months next week, so we'll see how much time that leaves me.
Yeah, I have a feeling you'll find the time. Just cut out some Hearthstone.
What?
All right, maybe not. All right, well, so let's first. Anthony's not here. He is studying for an exam, actually. He's also a little frustrated with fantasy, but that's not the main reason he's not doing this. He is studying for a certification test, so we wish him the best of luck in that. But that said, let's get into our mini games here. Hillers, you kind of gave this to me before we went on air, and I've got it written down, so I'll go ahead and run through it.
Sure.
So, the mini game winner from last week, the contest was biggest loss, which I think Andy was the odds-on favorite there, but he couldn't even pull that one off.
He managed to lose even that.
He managed to lose at losing, and the Chupanibres take the biggest beating last week. They lose to the Assassins, 108.2 to 75.9. I think that's 32.3 points, if my math does correct. So way to go, JD, on getting your face kicked in. I appreciate that. Especially
It
being
earned you
under-
$10.
Yeah, way
Probably
to go, man.
the only thing you're gonna win.
Season-long awards. There was a lot of upheaval this week in the season-long awards. First off, at running back, Arian Foster has overtaken Jamal Charles. Jamal Charles previously had 28.2, and now Arian Foster this week scored 29.2, so the Assassins are now the leader in the clubhouse on the running back front. Wide receiver was a blowout this week. I think we all kind of know Demaryius Thomas probably won that one this week. He scored 37.3
No, probably
points.
won that one this year.
Yeah, that one's going to be
37 is a lot for a wide
That's-
receiver.
gonna be tough to beat. So that one goes to Evan. He beats out TDJ and Calvin Johnson, who had that week 1 28.4 point performance. There was a kicker change. Phil Dawson scored 20 points as a kicker this week for the Assassins, their second one that they've taken. And they beat out Evan, who I'm not sure who his kicker was, but he had 19 points in week 1 or 2, I believe it was. And then for bench player, this could be any position. There was also a little change there in that Russell Wilson, who was on the Assassins bench, put up 38.2 points and beats out Jay Cutler of the Dad Dicks, who had put up a big week on his bench. So, way to go, Watson, on winning and having the highest scoring bench player, wrapping up 3 of the mini games for season long.
If the season ended today, he'd snag himself an extra $30.
Right, and so
That's crazy.
each mini game, just a reminder, each mini game, thank you for that, Hillers, is $10. And if you want to see the standings for the mini games and what the mini games are, there is a Google spreadsheet out there that you should be able to get to. If you don't have the link to it, let me know or let Hillers know, and we can get that to you, or let Anthony know, and he can get that to you. You can go on there at any time, see what the mini game is for any particular week and who the current leader is. So pretty good to have. Maybe it'll change your strategy a little bit on who you want to put in there. I don't know. If you're not in the hunt, then all you have is mini games. I've been there before, so.
They can add up. You get enough of those, and we got more than ever this season.
I went 2-14 and won $100 one year, so I was pretty happy.
That's ridiculous.
All right, so Hillers, let's get into it here. We're gonna just kind of run through some random questions, no team overviews, as I said, and we're gonna start with a divisional look here, just to kind of see. We kind of had our ideas coming in on which division we thought was going to be the strongest. We had them actually the day we picked them. We were excited. I think we all thought that my division was going to be just a bunch of crap, and the other divisions would be pretty tough. Yours being the toughest. That said, how do you think the divisions stack up now?
I still think my division is the toughest, and I think that's being backed up by the numbers in terms of how well all 4 teams are scoring every week. The other 2 are clearly 1 or 2 teams, and then 2 teams sort of at the bottom, or even in the Clubber Lang division, sort of maybe 3 competitors and then 1 way at the bottom. Yeah. And then in your division, I feel like it's 2 and 2 these days, And so, I mean, just for having to play each team 3 times, you're never going to have a tougher slog than what's in our division. Even the teams like, I know I'm viewed as one of the weaker teams in that division, and probably rightfully so, but there's not a team that's less than 3 and 4 in that division, and if we'd have played out of division opponents in some of those lost weeks, we would have crushed them. So
now, are you just looking at record, or what are you using?
Record, points, breakdown. I mean, just in total.
Okay.
I think that we're strongly ahead of the other 2 divisions.
So I'm gonna disagree a little bit. I'm gonna say, if you do look at points, actually, my division, your division is pretty even. The Von Drago and Apollo Creed divisions are pretty even. We both have 2 teams that are over 700 points. One, we have 2 around 720. You guys have 1 at 730 and 1 at 701. So pretty much balances out. And then you guys have 1 just under 700. But our 4th place team is better than your 4th place team points wise, not record wise. So it's kind of like everything balances out points wise. Where I do think we are strongest is I think the Dad Dicks are, again, I made my opinion. I took my stance. I called my shot last week on the Dad Dicks. I think they're going to take a slide.
You said late season collapse, but I mean, if it's today's not late season.
Well, today they don't have Jimmy Graham, and we're not sure how long.
That's going to be a problem.
So that's the other reason I'm going to say the Von Drago division is the strongest, because I think JD is the strongest number 3 team by far in the league. Considering you're the number 3 team in Apollo.
Well, he beat me.
And PBJ is the number 3 team in Clubber Lang. Clubber Lang, let's just push them aside because
they're not in contention. And even and Evan, if you're listening for something that's going to enrage you, you should not be 4 and 3. You should be 3 and 4 at best with the scores that you've been putting up. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, it is. But hey,
except for 1 week.
Yeah,
that's not going to hack it.
Yeah, so we should change it to the Tommy Gunn division. I'm gonna.
You should change it to the Tommy Gunn division.
We should. That's the terrible movie.
Who did he? What ancient guy? Or no? Who did he face in that most recent one where he was like 80?
Oh, Mason the Line Dixon.
It's like if you face someone crummy, you can almost beat them, but not quite. That's truly where that division is.
Yeah, there you go. So okay, well you still think yours is strong. I'll say I think ours is strong. Obviously, I think we're a little biased there.
Not me.
I think part of it is it's shaded because we have to play these teams and we're scared of them because we have to play them so much. So.
Yeah, but let's be honest. You get a choice between JD and Anthony, or between Watson and Grimes. There's no real competition.
Why would it be Watson and Grimes?
Well, I'm just saying. I'm offering you 2 different opponents to choose from. I think you would rather play the Assassins.
I'd rather play Iron Pirate than the Assassins. Actually.
Would you rather play me or JD right now? What do your power rankings say? What do your own power rankings say?
We'll get to that in power rankings.
Because I think your own power rankings favor my division.
I don't actually.
Yes, they do. I'm looking at them, and they do. You are full of lies.
Well, you haven't seen my power rankings for this week, so
you told me what they were.
No, I didn't.
You were reading them off.
I was not.
All right, you go ahead and change them before you enter them in, because
I might be doing that right now.
They favor us.
I might be doing that right now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what you're doing. All right. Anyway, moving along.
Moving along. So that's where we stand. Anthony, what do you think? I think the Ivan Drago division is the hardest. Well, there we go. There's our tiebreaker.
I'm done with fantasy. I'm cleaning the vacuum.
Yeah.
This is bullshit.
Sorry, I'm updating my power rankings here, so I'm right. This is how much we put into our power rankings, by the way. It's just totally based on what I said previously in the podcast.
You gotta still do your hosting duties while you cheat on your power rankings.
I'm not cheating. I'm reevaluating, reassessing. Which team? So we've mentioned some of these teams at the bottom. Our next topic of discussion here is which team that has had a rough start. So we'll say any of these teams, I guess, that are under 500. But really, there's like 3 or 4 that we've kind of been ragging on all year. Which team do we think has the best chance to make a comeback and maybe even make the playoffs?
Whew.
Now, I know you don't have to say you think they're going to do it because we've already did our real deal or no appeal. But
yeah,
which team do you think has the best shot?
Of this pile of 3 and 4 or below?
This is our snowball's chance question.
Of the 3 and 4 or below teams?
That's right.
I
don't know that you can count the Choop either. Like, I feel like they're...
You have to because there's only like 4 teams in the contention for your question right
fair
now.
Enough. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And of those teams, I would say... Nick by the smallest possible margin.
Okay.
Has the best chance, but just because on this, if he gets good doubleheader weeks out of his wide receivers, if Tom Brady turns it around, if Gio starts to show up a little bit, I mean, the projected points on all his players is very impressive. They haven't really been getting there. But with Pierre Thomas sort of being a little bit more featured this week in New Orleans, I know he's on a bye week this week, but I feel like his guys have enough potential where he could have a late season run, or just off the virtue of some virtuous bye weeks, maybe work himself into a wild card if things go poorly for Anthony Grimes.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, and he's had his bye already with his Bengals, which are like his two top players. Both of those.
I don't know if Blake Bortles is going to get in there. You might want to look for something else.
I'm waiting for him. I guess he's going to roll with Brady, and after last week, I don't see why he wouldn't. I guess, but he's got the tools to make a trade if he wanted to, and we'll have to see if that happens because that's definitely. I think that might be the move that most needs to be made right now in our league. Is Nick needs to get a better quarterback, and
Kirk Cousins is available.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. Are you the Redskins talking, or are you the Hillers?
No, I own Kirk Cousins right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think if I had to say, I would say. I'd like to say the Assassins because I feel like I like their team the best out of any of these, but again, they're in what I think is the hardest division, so it's a tough climb for them. So I will also say Nick. I'm going to agree with you on that one. Hillers.
Yeah, and just to add something to that, I mean, the way the run game is going in Indy right now, we're just seeing an uptick in Ahmad Bradshaw's carries, and his running average looks really good. It's totally possible that he ends up sort of the top dog in that. I'm sure it'll be a committee throughout the season, but rather than being the secondary one, he might well be the primary one by the end of the season. So.
Sure, yeah, and Pierre Thomas had 20-something points last week. I think Mark Ingram's coming back, so that's not going to help him too much. But when Noshawn Moreno comes back, that'll be a nice boost to him as well.
Yeah, but with Jimmy Graham out, who knows? You know what I mean? The opportunity abounds in New Orleans right now.
Maybe they'll play Pierre Thomas at tight end. Who knows? Could happen, I guess.
Get more points.
Be innovative, I guess, in some way. So, all right, next one. Who do you think has done the best job managing their team so far this year? I'll go first if you want on this one. Let's give you a minute here. That way you can copy me instead of me copying you.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say, and you might be surprised here. I'm gonna say Brett.
Oh, that was the one I was going to say.
Was it really?
Yeah, it really was.
Wow.
I mean, because who has experienced more hardship in the first 2 weeks of any team in history than Brett?
And he's one game out of first.
And he's one game out of first in his division. Yeah. And you know what? He was on my mind when you ask who has a shot at a wild card here because his division's such poo, and his team is not. Yeah.
No, that's very, very true. I think second. I'm not sure who I would pick. I know who I wouldn't pick second, but I'm not sure who I would pick second. I might say JD second, just because of the trade he made where he got Rashad Jennings. I feel like that was a nice trade that he did there, and he's made some savvy. I think he's made some good pickups. I want to say he's made good pickups. So,
Well, given that you've already sort of snagged the obvious ones, I'll put two other names in the running there.
Okay.
First one, Anthony, for taking advantage of my obvious mental disability.
fair, good point. Yeah.
Okay, and snagging Crabtree for a guy that, unless a miracle happens, is going to be essentially droppable. Now, is that a guy he can even start on his team right now? No, it isn't. But he gave up nothing, got nothing. He picked up Chris Ivory for $1, who has far exceeded expectations for the Jets this year, and become somebody that you can kind of put in your lineup. He was smart enough to go and get a guy like Isaiah Crowell, who may or may not start, and Kyrie Robinson, but there's opportunities there. Unlike, other guys who would need something ridiculous to happen for them to start playing.
Right.
Okay. And I forgot who my other one was. Is somebody else? Oh, it was. And I know it's a little bit ridiculous to say this, but I want to give a shout out to Andy for for trying hard to right the ship here and like working that waiver wire just real hard to try to get it in there. I mean, I don't think he could have anticipated quite how bad.
No, nobody could.
LaShawn McCoy was going to be at the start of this season, or just how mediocre Steven Jackson is when he's one of a quartet of running backs for the Falcons.
Yeah,
but still, he's on the waiver wire, even at 0-6, looking for potential keepers or guys he can trade. Guys like Brandon Oliver, who we had a brief conversation with about before the podcast, and he said, well, and you were saying, well, yeah, I think he's going to be garbage time points. And I go, well, he's going to be probably starting again, and he's playing Oakland. You don't think there's going to be garbage time there? It's going to be 3/4 of garbage time.
He's also got John Brown. That was a nice pickup. Devontae Adams of the Packers. He's already starting to look at next year. You can tell.
He's looking to the future here, and come off season, I think that he's going to be in a better position than most 0-6 teams are. And so, not that he's done well, but I think in terms of managing, he's doing just about all he can. Now, the site disagrees with me. It says his coach rating is 12th.
Well,
so
that's
he's apparently not starting the right people.
Yeah, that's all that is.
In terms of just managing for the future, I think he's doing everything that can be done.
Mm-hmm. We'll
talk about the other thing I'm thinking about his team probably a little bit later on one of your other questions here.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens when. Oh yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. So we'll wait then because I see that question too. I forgot to put that one on the list.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so next question here. We did our best manager so far, and we'll do the top two for this next one because I feel like we might again both agree on the worst manager.
I'm the worst manager. Everyone knows. Let's just move on.
Yeah. So
what. Enough has been said on that,
Okay.
and I admit it. I botched it again this year.
Yeah. So
in draft and in subsequent moves thus far.
So let me ask you this, and I know you can't do it because there would be mutiny, but have you considered dropping Bernard Pierce?
Yep, I've considered dropping a lot of people on my team.
Oh my God!
Well,
you can't do it. You know that.
I know I can't, and but I can't be shackled forever. I've got every running back on my team on a bye in week 11. I feel like I'm probably out of contention by then anyway, but I got to keep trying.
Play you in week 11?
No, Grimes does, of course.
Of course he does. Yeah.
So because he is just the beneficiary of all random fortune in this league here, but at some point I got to do something. This is a quagmire that is just difficult to get out of, and I only have until sort of the end of the regular season on the waiver wire until week 10.5 to make trades, and so at some point something's got to give, and it's just it's a matter of time. It really is. It really is.
The tricky thing is going to be finding someone on your team that people want, because I got to be honest.
I know it's not great, but there is still some potential there. I feel like there could be, but it's in guys that I'd rather not give up, like Golden Tate or Brandon Cooks or DeMarco Murray or Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Or Julius.
Because those are all great keepers.
Because that's the future of my team, right?
Yeah.
And so it'd have to be the right offer. But still, I mean, it's pretty clear that both over purchasing on Toby Gerhart and ending up in the Ravens running back quagmire has made my season a lot tougher than it needed to be. So, worst
you gotta be
manager
hoping.
is a fair designation.
You got to be hoping for a Cordero Patterson turnaround a little bit, so then you can maybe deal him.
That too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, with the quarterback situation there, he's not getting the targets. I thought he's not getting. Yeah. They're not. They say they want to work him in, but I'm not seeing it on the field. So.
All right. So worst manager, other than.
Other than me?
Yeah. Because that's kind of the easy out, right? That's kind of the.
It is.
It's kind of hard to say. I mean, I'll go. I think I'll say. Oh, I'm going to say Nick, and I feel bad if I keep killing Nick, but I think just because right now that I feel like he has the greatest need right now. And maybe Brady has turned it around, but if I were him, I'd already dealt for a quarterback. I would have already made a move to make sure the Patriots don't turn it around. So I guess I'll say Nick just for lack of the activity that I feel his team needs, or lack of trade activity.
That's fair. Evan, since the draft,
really,
I don't think he has done a thing for his team, and I think a lot of the people, other than his keepers, and even some of his keepers, Nick Foles, not what we thought. Okay, buying extra big for Eli Manning is a thing you can do, but it's not really putting you back in there. He's not trading on the name of any of his guys. A lot of the guys he bought into are sort of meh. C.J. Spiller never really panned out. Who knows if Jerick McKinnon, they keep saying maybe he'll be the guy, but it certainly looks like Matt Asiata was a better buy to me. His tight end, I've never even heard of. Austin Safarian Jenkins, who managed a mighty 1.1 points. I mean, his keepers were amazing, but that was last season's coaching. Not this season's coaching. And I don't think he's done a single thing to improve his team or to react to what has been now a series of subpar performances from his guys when he still can't. Some of these guys must be on the decline. They can't all still be good investments. He was maybe good to get Josh Gordon, but with the quarterback situation in Cleveland, let's be honest, he may not be a top 5 wide receiver when he gets back.
Well, they had the same quarterback situation last year, and he was great when Hoyer was in there. So,
who is it now? Do you even know from week to week? I mean, it's just fragile, is all I'm saying.
It's Hoyer. It's going to be Hoyer.
And the guys he's trying to trade, if he's talking about guys like Jordan Matthews, I feel like people have, for the most part, better keepers than that already. That's not really moving it up into, the real attractive keeper territory yet. So, I think he could be doing more, and I think he should be publicly called out for it.
All right. I like it. Shots fired. Cross the bow. Okay. Well, there you go. There's our candidates for worst manager of the year thus far. Always good when you can throw in a thus. All right. Which NFL player do you feel has been the MVP in our fantasy football league thus far?
Oh, boy. That is a tough one to say. I mean, for an MVP, I'm not just looking for a guy that you knew was a stud and kept and were playing to be your stud. I think I want someone was surprising to at least most people.
Right.
Okay.
Somebody who you got a lot of value out of this year so far.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know you're tired of hearing it. It's Phillip Rivers.
Okay.
I mean,
I can't argue with you anymore.
He's the number 3 quarterback again. And no one gives a shit about this guy, and I don't understand why. Because he's done nothing but greatness, and for a team that had what they thought was a franchise quarterback in Cam Newton, we all knew he was going to have a tough year, and it got a little bit tougher with circumstances down there. I'm not saying Cam Newton is bad, but you could not have done better. He's the number 2 quarterback in the league right now. It's beating Peyton Manning. That's beating Aaron Rodgers, Jay Cutler, Russell Wilson, whoever.
Yeah. And he was an afterthought in the draft for $7.
He was. It was, and honestly, keeper quarterback, a guy that's really stepped up for a team that needs players like that, because he has a chance at his division, just because it's kind of squishy.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even think of Rivers. I mean, I would go with someone we've talked about before, and I would say Andrew Luck, who's kind of just ahead, or I guess who's number one so far.
Number one is the only one more, and actually not by a little bit. It's 149 points on the season for Andrew Luck and 127 for Phillip Rivers. That's the
Right.
gap.
Yeah, it's a pretty big gap. I mean, and that's the reason. No, he's ahead of some other guys because they've had bye weeks. Like Manning had a bye week.
Sure.
So he would be theoretically only a few points behind if he stayed on average.
But again,
still,
I mean, you knew Manning was going to be that.
right,
That's why
exactly.
you got Manning.
And then when you look at Dave's team, you say, we've said this before about Dave's team. Like you look at it and it's not, oh no, this team is frightening. It's one of those teams you look at and you say, how in the world do they keep winning? And then you look right at the top of that roster, and it's Andrew Luck sitting up there who's putting up a 35 spot every game. Which is good for three really good running backs. Like that's a great day there. So
I would like to put in a second candidate.
Sure.
Okay, and it's probably tooting my own horn a little bit, but DeMarco Murray.
Yeah, that's
Insane.
Yeah.
When you look at his stats, the amount of people that have gotten as many rushing yards as he has through the first few games of the season, it's like football legends.
It is.
Okay?
You're right.
His fantasy points, 101
Yep.
through 5 games. The next closest running back, 79.
Yeah, 22 points away.
That's crazy. He is running.
That's 2 games away.
He is keeping my team afloat almost single-handedly.
Yeah.
And it can't stay that way. They've got to cut back on his carries. He's going to have something like 500 carries if they keep him at his current pace. But I knew he would be good. I had no idea he would be
he's had
that good.
17 points or more. 17 points or more in every game so far.
That's
which is
obscene. That's crazy.
really good. Yeah. So another great one. So so would you go Rivers or Murray? Which one would you say?
Oh, well, I'm obviously inclined towards Murray, but I know there's bias. But I think there's good points and effect on the team's record arguments to be made for both guys.
Okay. If you were doing a draft today, and so we're halfway through the most fantasy regular seasons, and if you were drafting today, who would you be if we were doing a snake draft and not our auction draft that we typically do? Who would be your number 1 overall pick if you could do it? Because the top 3 consensus picks coming into this year were, in some order, LaShawn McCoy, Adrian Peterson, Jamal Charles. I don't know that any of them would be in the top 3 anymore. Maybe Charles because he's back and he's healthy now, and it looks like he's going to be fine the rest of the way. But who would you take number 1 overall at this point? Would it be Murray?
We know what we know today, right?
I think
it might be Murray. Honestly, it'd be him or Lynch, or maybe Le'Veon Bell. I mean, well, it's a snake draft, right? So Murray, yes. I mean, running backs are the hardest to come by, feature backs, and he's killing it. Like, knowing what you know today, he's the guy to have.
Okay. I think I'd agree with you. I think I'd have to agree with you. The argument for Murray or against Murray is injury, and because
but Lance Dunbar is not hard to come by,
Right, but is Lance Dunbar going to step in and be DeMarco Murray?
But is Christine Michael going to step in and be Marshawn Lynch? I mean,
well, I would say Jamal. No, but that's not where I would say what you want out of your number 1 pick is you want reliability, right? You want a guy who you can rely on. They say you can't win the draft with the number 1 overall pick, but you can lose it. That's
right.
So you want a guy who's going to be in. So that's, and again, we're picking nits. That's what we like to do on this podcast, is pick nits.
That's our business. Our business is good.
But I would say maybe because, like you said, they're going to run him 500 times. He's already had like 1,000 carries this year, and so maybe there's going to be some injury there. He hasn't really been the healthiest guy in the past. So maybe Jamal Charles is that guy still, because again, he's had a rough patch.
Is Jamal Charles, given that Andy Reid just won't run him, better than Marshawn Lynch or Le'Veon Bell or Arian Foster or Matt Forte?
Definitely better than Foster or Forte, I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
Forte's been. It's weird. Forte's been kind of a. It's weird. Even Forte, who's been the number 4, he was kind of the number 4 pick in a lot of drafts, like number 4 running back, and he's been really bad. He's only had 1 touchdown this year.
It's not really bad. He's the 5th best running back.
Yeah, but I think he's had 1 touchdown, maybe.
And he's still the 5th best running back, which should let you just say, well, where is there to go but up there?
That's true. That's a good point. So
sleeper, though, if you want to ask who's the best sleeper in the draft, and actually I will ask that, but I'll give you a second to think about it. And, it's obvious you could pick guys that you never expected to play, like Justin Forsett or something, but a guy that you might have drafted that you're getting more value out of than you think.
Like the guy who has moved up the most, maybe from beginning till now. Okay.
And maybe Ahmad Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Just because not potential moving forward and just where he is, and again I know it's leaning towards running backs, but I'm looking at guys like wide receivers. And I'm not seeing all that many, except for maybe Jeremy Maclin, all that much in the way of surprise. Steve Smith also candidate, Who knew? He still had that much left in the tank.
I knew. I said it at the draft, and you probably don't remember, but I said it at the draft.
Well, you didn't draft him.
I know. I didn't
what
have
does
money.
It cost? $7?
I didn't have money.
You didn't think it $8 worth.
No, I didn't have. I don't think I had $8 to spend on a receiver at that point. I needed another running back, but no, I knew he was going to be good. I was in on the bidding on him, but I think Watson outbid me. But it's Steve Smith definitely, Jeremy Maclin definitely. Maybe Rashad Jennings too. I mean, he's hurt now, so that's not great. But he's somebody who people weren't sure of. You had Andre Williams there. People were saying he might be the guy. He might take some carries away. But he's moved up, and Le'Veon Bell might be the other one. I don't know where he went.
Third place for me, Antonio Gates.
Oh God. Well, yeah, we didn't update our scores.
He arises, and if you want to know how we're doing, it was a tough week actually in our bet. Gronkowski had a pretty good week. There's among the guys who we didn't have a better week than was Antonio Gates with his couple of touchdowns.
You gained about a point.
57.5 to 48 and 0.7.
Yeah.
So I've got about 10 points on you.
Yeah, you had about 8 or 9 on me last week, so you gained a point or 2. So he's hanging in there. I'll give the old man credit. He's doing all right. So, but yeah, that's a good point. Like who would have moved up the most? And quarterback, is there a quarterback other than Rivers maybe that would have moved up the most?
Other than Rivers,
maybe Russell Wilson.
I would say Matt Ryan. I don't think anybody gave Matt Ryan any credit. And again, he's a top 5 guy. I think to vindicate Anthony is not here to speak for himself.
Yeah,
he's elite, still, and the Falcons are hanging in there. And I don't think too many people would have picked him over Jay Cutler or Russell Wilson or hell, Drew Brees and Matt Stafford are hanging out below him right now. So Nick Foles is way down there. So
well, they would have picked him over Cutler, I feel like, but yeah, I mean, he's been good. Like I said, I was wrong on him, and he's been great, and doesn't show any signs of slowing down. So. That's just kind of where we are. It's fun to look at where things were at the start of the year and kind of where we are now. And so who do you think has fallen the most? I guess that's another question, right? If we want to say who's been the biggest bust.
Well, there's obvious. There's obvious Ray Rice, Adrian Peterson.
Okay, well, let's take the people who are no longer in the league out of it. And,
on administrative leave, I guess.
If you take injury, I guess, out of it too, maybe.
Okay.
Because
well, then it's
tricky.
easy. LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah, that is easy, right?
LaShawn McCoy, best running back in the league last season. This season, has he even had a game over 10 points? I'm not sure that he has. Let me take a look. Oh, no, he did. The first 2 weeks against Jacksonville and the Colts. Since then, 2.2, 1.7, and 6.6. And I don't know why exactly. I mean, he's got a relatively easy schedule coming up, so I think by the end of the regular season we'll know if this is fantasy or mirage. But whoa, terrible!
Yeah.
What happened to that guy? I mean, that was a sure shot. It was like him and Lynch, and he's just gone.
Yeah.
How about you? What do you think?
I can't come up with anybody else. I mean, that's such a good call. I'm looking at receivers to see who it would be, and maybe T.Y. Hilton. He's been
but T.Y. Hilton was a lot more hype than certainty. You know what I mean? I'm
feel
looking
like
for a
everybody's
guy
kinda
that
waiting-
people are like, yeah, that's solid, and it was not solid at all. I mean,
Kenny Britt, maybe that's no.
Tom Brady has been underperforming, but it's not like he's LaShawn McCoy bad.
Yeah, and he was drafted pretty low this year. Like a lot of people, I mean, there was always one or two people. I was one of the people who believed in Brady still, but he had fallen in drafts quite a bit.
Right.
Maybe Breeze. Has Breeze been good?
He's been pretty good. He hasn't been well. I mean, it's only because the expectations for Breeze are top 3.
Well,
You know what
same
I mean?
for McCoy though.
Well, right, but Breeze hasn't fallen as far as McCoy has either. You know, I mean, he's pretty far, but there's still a lot of time for him to sort of make that up.
Maybe Larry Fitzgerald.
Larry Fitzgerald. I think, the jury was still out as of the draft as to, is this guy still good and just needs a bounce back year, or is his time maybe done? And I feel like that question may be mostly answered at this point.
It's panic time for Larry Fitzgerald.
It's panic time. He's not
Buckle
worth
up.
what you're going to pay for him, probably even next year.
He
I don't
has
think anymore.
yet to score. Has yet to have more than 57 yards in a game this year.
That's horrible.
And has not scored. So
That's horrible.
yeah.
You can pick guys off the waivers for most weeks that have done more.
He's it's been bad.
I don't think that's premier player anymore, and this is sort of the second year in a row. So I might call it on Larry.
Okay. All right. All right. So I got 2 more here, Hillers, and then I don't know if you had any, but how about trades you'd like to see?
Who?
Kind of covered. We kind of delved into this a little bit, but I didn't know if there's anything out there, and not involving your team, of course, because this is just like trades in the league that you think need to be made.
I would like to see, particularly if he gets a couple of losses in the next couple of weeks, I would like to see Brett work some of his relatively well-performing running backs. Justin Forsett or Bobby Rainey or one of those guys into something a little more keepable.
Do you think you can get anything for those guys, though?
Yeah, I think running backs are well sought after, and I think Alshon Jeffrey is obviously a keeper at wide receiver at $9.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I'm not seeing anybody that's like, I know that guy is a keeper on this team.
Yeah.
And I think with the people that he has and how well they've been doing versus their expectations, he could snag at least one more person that's an obvious keeper.
Right.
And I think that's something that he should probably pursue if he catches a couple more losses in the next couple weeks.
So Brett dealing maybe a running back for some keepers. I'll say that I think the trade that may happen or should happen is Gronkowski to Evan for...
Very specific.
Yeah, I just think I see Gronkowski as a trade piece for Andy. And I'm not real sure what Evan sends back, honestly, but I think I could see that happening.
For tight ends. I think he could end up with a running back or something, but Andy's got to be looking at who's keepers, right? So what keepers is he going to get for it?
Yeah, maybe he sends Lamar Miller, for Gronk or something like that.
You want a $15 Lamar Miller next season?
Well, if he ends up being the guy, I don't know.
Over Gronkowski?
Yeah, but who else can he get? Who else can he deal? Maybe Josh Gordon?
Well, then you don't make that deal. You know what I mean? Because you need keepers, and a $15 and soon to be $18 at least Lamar Miller is not on that list.
So let me ask you, if Evan is in a tight playoff race, or even maybe falls a game or two behind, does he deal Josh Gordon to a team that is out of it? For a
No. I mean, I think Evan's best bet would be to deal guys that he doesn't plan on keeping for whatever gains that he can get, because his keepers are so amazingly solid. You don't want to go trading away sort of a dynasty position as one of the most dominant teams in the league. You don't know who's going to be in your division next year. And to be able to go in again with Alfred Morris and Demaryius Thomas and Josh Gordon.
That's not how dump trades work. I mean, at some point in every season, you have to make a decision to say, am I going for this, or do I need to start playing for next
year? If I was going
to
dump trade somebody on Evan's team, it would be Julio Jones, who I think still has the name and prestige to get somebody worth having without having to cost him too much in the way of points.
Julio Jones, who's had 9, 14, 28, 8, and 10 as a
Yep.
receiver.
He's a $23 receiver. He's got other receivers that can step in there, particularly if Josh Gordon comes up. And Josh Gordon only costs $6.
Julio
So,
Jones, the number 3 receiver in the league right now.
Yep.
You would deal.
Well,
think
you
he
got to
could
trade
keep
somebody
$23?
that people know they're going to get returns on. You're not going to do a
That's
dump
why I
trade.
said Josh Gordon, because they're pretty sure they're going to get returns on Josh Gordon.
Yeah, but then I think he wins both ways that year because they'll pretty sure they'll get returns on Julio Jones for a great reason.
Yeah, but then you're giving.
And then you got Josh Gordon cheaper next year in addition to that. That's a win-win. And he
It's
needs
not
a
a win-win
quarterback.
because-
You can get a quarterback for Julio Jones. You can get a good one.
It's insane, but I can't even
Probably.
argue. I can't even argue with that.
Well, then it's a perfect argument.
I can't. I don't know where to start. But you want to trade the number 3 receiver in the league who costs
Look how expensive his
$23.
receivers are. I mean, they're getting a little pricey.
Right, but
So look to you're both looking to the future and securing your present that way.
No, so he throws back Joique Bell. He doesn't keep Joique Bell next year. I mean, his keepers aren't that expensive. I don't understand what you're saying. He's got 2 expensive receivers. That's it. Like, I'm not sure.
Reasonable people can disagree. That's
All
fine.
right. Well,
All right.
You're being unreasonable.
Okay, reasonable people can disagree, and then I can say what I want to.
All right, so we did our preseason playoff predictions. Did you have any other trades that you wanted to see? By the way, I didn't really have them.
Well, none of I hadn't prepared as well for this one as I normally do. So
that one's tough because you got to look at every team and you got to say what do they need and what can they give and who needs it.
Well, so the first thing to come to mind is who could make themselves a lot better than they are now with what they have now, and the first team that came to mind was maybe Brett, but I'm sure there's other teams. Hey, you got other ideas, viewers? Leave it in the comments. We'll talk about it next time.
Please send it over. Don't just IM one person and say your
And
podcast.
complain about how stupid we are.
Yeah. Post something on the public forum. Have some cojones.
I know. Yeah, get out there at least,
Yeah.
like you normally do with your snarky comments.
Show your face on the internet. No, don't show your face. Just type something.
No, we don't want to see your face.
Not that you want to see ours. Playoff predictions. So
Speak for yourself.
at the beginning of the year, we went through and we picked division winners, we picked wild cards, and then we picked who we thought would win it all. And I just wanted to see. Actually, I can pull up what we had there.
Oh Lord, is it already terrible?
It's
It's a little roughed up.
yeah. It's gonna take me a minute to pull it up here, but I mean, do you think things have changed a lot so far, Hillers? I mean,
Not too much. I mean, I'm surprised at how well Dad Dix has been able to do, but a lot of that is some Jimmy Breeze luck, and we've both mentioned that we think that it has the potential to decline precipitously as the season goes on here. So I know that I had highly ranked Anthony and yourself, and Evan, and I think Pritchard and Dave might have even sort of been in the running. So it's not terribly. It hasn't really veered too far off my expectations here now.
Okay. Well, let's run through it. I can't find the predictions. Go back and listen to the Week 1 podcast if you want to hear them, what the difference is. I think we all kind of know. We all kind of remember. But if you had to pick division winners right now, Hillers, who would you go with as your division winners?
Boy. I would say Anthony, Pritchard, and yourself.
Okay.
Which is not too far off the current standings, but I mean, what do you expect? You're going off of what we know today versus pure speculation prior to the draft. So.
Right. All right. So you would say EBS, Pritchard, and Widows. Okay, and I will say I got to get back to my standings page here. See, I'm writing it down this time. That way we can go back and look and see how wrong we were.
No, that's fine. Don't bother with that.
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say Anthony wins his division. You picked Pritchard. Well, you picked every division winner. That's really going out on a limb there, Hillers.
No, I didn't. Anthony is second.
Oh, okay. Never mind. All right, Anthony, Pritchard. So I'll take the Black Widows. I'll take EBS, and I'll take that bottom division is so bad.
Oh, way to go out on a limb there, Merrill.
I'll take the Sex Cannons, I guess. just because I don't know. I think they'll
The
pull
weight
through.
of history.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
okay.
don't know, because things just kind of break their way late in the season when
They
need them to,
do.
I guess. I don't know.
Oh, they do.
And Evan's a good owner. He knows what he's doing. So
Not this
there's that
season.
also.
Second worst owner.
That's what you said. That's right. Says the worst owner.
Says the worst. You're not that far above me, Clark.
Yeah, it takes one to know one. Okay, so your wild cards. This is where it gets a little trickier, probably. Who do you think?
Well,
Who do you
it's,
have
it's
as a
the
wild
other
card
side. You know what? Duplex and Dix.
I'm gonna take the Duplex and Chupanibres. I think there are 3 coming out of our
Again,
division.
you're still picking both wild cards out of your division? This
I
is
am.
hubris.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I am, and I really wanted to hate and rag on JD's team all year. I was really looking forward to that, but he's got a good
What
team.
about JD's team is so terrifying exactly?
There's nothing that's terrifying. It's just really.
Matt Ryan has done about as well as at least me and
We
Anthony.
were just
expected.
talking about how Matt Ryan has been great.
Yeah,
Like,
but look at the
I've been-
rest. Well, and that's why I started with that. But Frank Gore, Stephen Ridley, I'm not
Frank Gore's
scared
been
of that.
amazing.
I mean, Brian Quick has been surprising,
And
but with
Stephen Ridley
Austin
isn't-
Davis as quarterback, it's like, oh, okay. It's who on this team is no. It's just it's very meh, and it'll catch up with them sooner or later.
I'm going to disagree. I think Martellus Bennett is a top 5 tight end. He's great. Maybe a top 3 tight end.
Not right now, he isn't.
Matt Ryan is great. Are you sure about that?
I'm checking it right now.
Emmanuel Sanders has been a great pickup for him. That was a
He's
great-
not on the first part of the screen even. it's bad. Oh wait, that's free
Can't be
agents.
right.
Sorry, no, it's not. He's the 4th best tight end right now.
Okay. So there you go. By 1.4 points. So really, yeah, he's really way out of that top 3.
Oh really? You think Delaney Walker and Jimmy Graham and Rob Gronkowski and Larry Donnell, as I like to call him, are gonna stay behind Martellus Bennett?
I think Delaney Walker is, and Larry Donnell
Really?
is.
He's playing
and
Jacksonville this week. You think he goes behind this week?
I'll take Martellus Bennett the rest of the year. You take Delaney Walker. You want to make
We
that
already
bet?
got a tight end bet that you're
I know we
losing,
do.
so you stick to what you got.
Well, you stick to what you got. You want to
I'm
take it?
gonna.
No.
And I have Julius Thomas, the best tight end in the league by a good margin.
So that's a no on you want to take that bet? Okay.
What? Greg
moving
Olsen
on.
versus Martellus Bennett? Or Delaney Walker? No, I'd
Delaney
probably
Walker,
take Martellus
yeah.
Bennett. But the rest of those guys, Jimmy Graham, come on. That's a
No,
no.
I just JD's team. To me, it's solid. I think Matt Ryan's going to have a great year. I think that defense is bad. They're going to have to throw a lot. Gore is underrated. He's got Rashad Jennings, who right now, while he's hurt,
Underrated.
but I think Bishop Sankey is going to be, continue to get more and more carries as the year goes on. I think he's going to end up being a good RB2 for him. And he's got Victor Cruz sitting down there as that Giants offense comes along. I think this team's going to do nothing but get stronger as the year goes on, basically. And they're already in a
Alright.
pretty good position. So.
All right.
All right, and so who do you have winning the championship? Who versus who?
I think I had you, and I still have you. As
Mhm.
much as that pains me, because it just grows your ever-swelling hubris about your team and how great they are.
I don't understand. Like, I was talking to Nick, and he's like, "You need to be taken down a peg," and I'm like,
You
"Really?
do need to be taken down. Okay.
Really?
You're right.
Really?
You know?
I've been losing for 7 straight seasons, and I finally start winning, and I need to
Yes,
be taken
and
down
we
a peg."
never stop hearing. Yes, because your head has grown exponential to your victories.
Okay.
With every win, it just swells just a little bit.
I'm not sure what I've done that warrants that.
You won
but,
games, Merrill. You know people hate that.
That's true.
And then you keep talking about how you're winning games and how great your team, and then you complain. Then you complain still about your team and all your various misfortunes every now and again, and that's just
I talk
Spice.
about my team winning games because I host a podcast about
that's
the
just
league.
spice on the sauce of your hubris curry.
All right. Okay.
I won't be able to do it, but somebody needs to knock you down a peg.
Yes. All right. Yeah.
Who are you playing this week?
Brett.
Get him, Brett. Sick him.
Might. He could.
I don't know. You're favored by 22 points. That's a lot.
Well, yeah, it's because CBS is always their
Yeah,
rankings
it's so
always turn out
accurate,
so
but
good.
that's still a pretty big number.
So you have me. Who do you have me beating?
I Tough. I don't know. EBS, I guess. That's what I said, right? I'll stick to it. I'll double down on that one. If we were doing Bragg Cave, double down. That's it.
Yeah. I'm gonna take. I think Dave wins again. By the way, I'm gonna take Dave winning this game.
It's totally possible too.
Because
just sneak into a wild card and then walk away with a fourth title.
He's like the San Francisco
very
Giants,
thing
man.
to do. Yes.
He's like the San Francisco Giants. You look at this lineup and you're like, I don't get it.
No, there's no way,
I
right?
don't get it. There's no way. And then like come the postseason, he just wins. He just if he's in, watch out because he's making a run at it.
Coming for you.
So I'll take Dave beating Anthony because Anthony loves coming in second. So
He does. It's his favorite thing.
yeah, it's his favorite thing in the world. On a missed extra point, Anthony comes in second. And then
that would
never
be
hear from him.
delicious.
And then he walks into the effing ocean, and we never.
One of you guys that's good at the internet, find this clip from Space Ghost Coast to Coast where they have the insect going, "My hatred for you is delicious." that's what you. It's like 4 seconds long. Totally worth putting in one of these little.
It sounds pretty amazing.
It's a life changer.
All right, Hillers, let's close it out with our power rankings here.
Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. I'll go first here.
Go.
All right. 12, I've got the Weenyay. At 11, I've got PBJ. At 10, I've got Touchdown Jesus.
Whoa.
He's really hurting right now. Like, I don't know, his team just not performing.
That's a pretty. Are you entering these as you go along? That's a pretty. Well, it's not a precipitous drop, but 2 points.
Yeah, no, not. It's a team I've traditionally liked a lot, but right now, with Calvin Johnson out and Forte kind of underperforming and Cam Newton hurt, although he does have Rivers, which is nice, but I think this team, they're not that great right now.
No. Be sure to enter these in the site, by the way. I can't even change yours.
Okay. At 10, at 9, I've got Iron Pirate. At 8, I've got the Assassins. At 7, I have the Dad Dicks.
The Dad Dicks at 7? At 6-1? What do they need to do, Merrill?
Well, they lost Jimmy Graham, and we call this team
for like
Jimmy.
2 weeks.
Well, this what my power rankings are for right now. Who do I want to play most? Who do I want to play least? And they're right in the middle for me right now because they don't have the Jimmy and Jimmy Breeze.
No respect.
So
he's calling you out, Grimes.
Sure.
Anyway, all right. For me, it's Weenyay at 12. I got myself moving up a spot to 11 this week.
Or down a spot? Oh, up a spot. Okay.
Up a spot.
It's you.
Yeah. The more I can, every time I get a win, and I'll knock myself up one. Sex Cannons. PBJ at 10.
I was gonna say, whoa.
Yeah. Not, where's maybe, but come on, he's not 10. His team's still really good. Okay, now PBJ time at 10. At 9, I have the Assassins. At 8, I have Los Chupanibres. Team you think is so very good. And then Iron Pirate Redux at 7.
Okay, pretty similar. At 6, I've got Hillers Upside. And then because Hillers, as bad as your team has been managed, you're still like 4th in the breakdown. You're still putting up points. Like it's performing
It's
well.
ridiculous. I'm in the top 3 in many of the categories, like in receiving and in passing, and rushing. It's like I'm 3 or better.
And we're coming up on the halfway point in the season. At some point, this is real. Like we have to start believing this. So.
Defense rank 2nd, receiving rank 3rd, passing rank 3rd. I'm like, why am I so bad? I don't understand.
You've been very unlucky with schedule.
Well, I'll tell you why. Schedule difficulty first.
Yeah. So I'll put you 6th. At 5, I'm putting the Choop. At 4, I've got the Sex Cannons.
Love your Choops.
At 3, I've got EBS. He seems to be. I'm not sure what's going on with his team, but he seems to be falling a little bit.
He's having tough times.
And then at 2, I've got the Duplex, and 1, I've got me just because I beat them this week.
2 with the Duplex. Wow, it's very surprising. I think.
Well, I just picked them to win it all. I think they're a really good team.
You did, obviously. Yeah, okay. Well, so our top 6 differs a little bit. At 6, I have the Sex Cannons.
Okay, I have 4.
Because I mean it looks like a great team, but points are points, and they've had one good week. So,
do you think it's because they're in the past Evans' team has been so scary, and this year you look at it and you're not all that scared of it?
No, I was still scared of it, but you know how short my memory is, right?
Yeah.
And my memory has one good week in it for him right now, and the rest are like meh. You know, if you would have beaten the team most weeks, how scared can you be, right?
Yeah.
TDJ, I have at 5.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. Duplex, I have at 4. So I guess we're not all that far off on the duplex. I guess we both think they're actually better than, or at least luckier than most teams. 3, I have EBS. 2 is the Dad Dicks, and 1 is Black Widows.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. So EBS
There you go.
and Sex Cannon has taken a fall this week. We had both, I think, had them at 1 and 2 coming up the whole way, and I guess we're the bloom is off the rose, as they say.
Now, I haven't had Sex Cannons at 2 all but 1 week.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
4-2, missed week, 5-6.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So there's your power rankings, folks. We're gonna close out the podcast here. Good luck to
No
everyone.
predictions this week?
Nah.
All right. Screw it. You guys, yeah, you'll find out in a few days.
Yeah. Good luck to everyone except Brett in week 6. And who are you playing, Hillers?
The Wiener is actually favored over me by 5 points right now.
I'll take the
Oh.
So, any comments on your team name change, by the way? Anybody?
Well, the one thing I do enjoy about it is when they send those little automated updates to have the punctuation in it as you read.
Right.
Makes it pretty funny. It's like even when it's praising me, it's like, can this be true? Is this right?
Yeah.
So that's amusing.
Okay.
So I'll take it as my failure name for the rest of the season here.
There you go. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for watching. If, in fact, you watch, please leave comments. Let us know if there's things you like, whether you want us to do team overviews, whether you like these other segments, or some kind of combination. Just let us know so we can kind of tailor the show to what people enjoy. All 4 of you.
All 4 of you who watch.
Yeah, 3 of you being the people who normally host.
And the feedback's like, I always hate what you say, but we prefer it when you do it in this format.
Right.
That's all we want.
Just give us something, yeah.
We don't need praise.
Just go beyond the I hate this. Step into what would you like. That's what we want.
Yeah, just try to envision a world in which you grumpy asses are happy with anything.
Yeah, exactly. So, for Mr. Gortat, this is Mr. Ivanisevich saying we will talk to you guys later.